FRANCESFOX. I'm a trained psychic. I was trained in remote viewing, interspecies communication, and all the other psychic skills that you can think of. I lived a year in Tibet. What you're seeing in front of you is my analysis of the energies of the United States on the 27th of December, 2022, after the cyclone bomb that is going to be hitting this country. I have to remind you that the future is elastic and plastic. Whatever you're seeing there is not great, and I will explain it to you in a few moments. But prophecy exists to let you know where you're going to end up if you don't get off that road you're on, if you don't make some changes. So, what I am seeing is not good, but that can change. So, let's go back to the map. And I will explain. All that red is extra fire. That's too much fire. It's frustration, it's anger. It turns into violence. The 27th of December, 2022, and I supposedly have a very good reputation having to do with future. I don't do a lot of it because I want you to learn to change your future. Why would I want to put something in concrete if you can change it? And I end up looking like I'm a bad prophet. Bad prophets are very successful. What they said, somebody listened to and they made changes. So here goes with what is going to be happening in the other dimensions for the United States if there are no changes. There's going to be a break, the zigzagging line across the country, and I can't tell because it's too light, but it doesn't get all the way to the East Coast. But the East Coast has a portal open. What does that mean? You know how planet Earth has all these layers, stratosphere, megasphere, I think. Those are like dimensions. When they break, and there was a very big break a week ago because some frequency hit the planet and it left a hole in it. And science says that we're going to be more affected by space weather. And maybe this cyclone is an example. I don't know. But that you're looking at in the Northeast section, which of course includes Washington, New York, etc., the Carolinas, the most important part of our country in terms of governance and monies, there's going to be an opening to hell. A portal, an opening. No longer those walls like the stratosphere, etc., that protects the planet. We're not going to have it there. We are going to have a recycling of rage in South Florida due to revelations. Well, we kind of already know what that's all about. That's coming with the Twitter files. In the south of the United States, going directly into Texas, we have an invasion from the underworld. Well, there's a bit of history here. When BP oil drilled 5,000 feet underneath the surface of the earth in the Gulf of Mexico in order to pull up more oil, something happened. And the oil kept gushing out for months. It changed human history because it broke a particular doorway that's called the Brahmavara. That's the door to hell. And that door has been broken since then. And whatever's happening now with this cyclone, at this point, unless there's changes, that hell that has always, since 2005, I believe, was when there was that oil accident. Since then, the people in that area of the south of the United States have had a much higher incidence of mental illness, a lot more murders, a lot more emotional instability due to the energies that came in and continue to come in through that portal. But at this point, with what's going on, it's going to blow open. And from what it looks like, it's going to blow open mainly, and the process will start in Texas. This is not a good thing. In this country, I think more than 40% of our people are already classified as mentally ill. It was said in the future, in the age of Aquarius, which we have already entered, that one of the big issues was going to be mental illness, and this, whatever's happening in the next several days, is going to augment that dramatically in the United States. I haven't done the rest of the world. Maybe they're worse. At this point, I have not sketched them. So you have an open portal to hell in the Northeast, in the parts of our country that represent us, our government, etc. By the way, the two places where horror movies are used as backgrounds are cemeteries and swamps. Washington, D.C. is built on top of a swamp. You cannot live on a swamp and not have it change your character. You're going to be invaded. That's why the indigenous people, before they construct anything, they ask permission. But they're not really asking for permission. They're asking if they can build there. And the spirits many times will say no, because it's not going to be good for them to build there. It's not a territory issue or a greediness issue. If anybody had asked if the government of our country should be located on a swamp to somebody who knows about other dimensions and has held on to natural instincts and information that human beings have access to, we would have never had our government operating from there. It's no wonder there's so many conspiracies. It's a perfect setup. So we have all of this going on next week due to the effects of the cyclone. But the future is elastic and plastic. We have free will and we can change things. I did not understand when I did the map of what we look like today, which is this map right here, lower right. I didn't understand it because I would have felt I would have drawn a lot of red, which is rage, because of all the revelations, the Republicans, Democrats, etc. But it's all black. And at the top, I put a note that I got, which is this is a very depressed country. Now, we have X's in the Northwest and in South Florida. X's are black magic. Did somebody physical do that? Did a group do that? We don't know, but it could be from off planet. And you're going to go, wait a second. Yes, you have to widen your lens to be able to have the benefit of this level of information that the government taught me to access. Your lens can't be like this, because then you're just a victim. There's a cyclone coming. I just told you what it's going to look like this country afterwards. Or you can widen your lens and go, okay, I'm listening. You don't have to promote me. You don't even have to believe, but listen. I don't know why those two areas have black magic, but they do. But if you apply the Bagua, which is a map of the energies of your home, that same map you can apply to just one room, to your desk, to your bed, or to a country. And if you apply that map, that X at the top, northwest, corresponds to the prosperity section of this country. And the X at the bottom in South Florida corresponds to helpful friends. Both of those areas right now are cursed. This map on the lower right is today. Now, the other map is on the 27th. What's going to happen if we don't get off this particular road we're on? Today, at the center of this country, there is a spiraling of negativity, of depression. Makes sense. And that's heart chakra, which also in the Bagua map corresponds to health. So I think we're already getting a lot more sick people. The waves that you're seeing are emotions of depression. Water in the other dimensions are emotions. Emotions are water in the other dimensions. There's waves of depression around the country. And this is where we're at today. And if we take that away, this is where we're going to be at if we don't get off the road that we're on. So I believe that we need to reduce our depression, and it's not difficult. The mantra is, even though we do it for the whole country, we are depressed, I love and accept myself. Even though we are depressed, I love and accept myself. I would teach it to as many people as possible. And today, contrary to before, people aren't going to tell you, oh, I'm not depressed. People are willing to admit it because it's that severe. If we reduce this depression, we may be able to reduce all that's going to break during this particular weather system that is supposedly going to affect every part of our country. I'm in South Florida. The lizards are going to fall off the trees because when they get cold, they go into hibernation, and so they fall off. Well, it's kind of funny, but if that's happening to us here, and we're not even getting a direct hit, can you imagine what it's going to do to, by the way, our railroad system? I believe there's going to be some huge damage there. So let's try to reduce causal of why we would need such a storm, so that we maybe don't need such a strong storm because we reduce the depression, and then maybe we will have change. Future's elastic and plastic. The second map on the lower left, which shows tremendous breakage. My name is FRANCESFOX, and I'm a trained remote viewer. I would like to be at some point your favorite psychic spy. I am not proud of having been a psychic spy. I didn't choose it. I was put on that path. And at this point, when I can choose, I choose it to bring you this extra information, which is outside of your comfort zone, which is outside of what you normally would look at. But if you just widen it, you may find it interesting. The least you can do is the mantra. Even though we are depressed, I love and accept myself. We hope to see you again soon. We have our YouTube channel, FRANCESFOX English, and we are on Twitter in English. Thank you for accompanying me.